Welcome to the Workplace Wellbeing Essential Series. I'm Mari Ryan. I'm the CEO and founder of Advancing Wellness. It's my pleasure to welcome you today to this conversation, which is an expert interview where we explore topics related to employee well-being. My guest today is Janet Swaysland. Janet has been working as a leader and a consultant in marketing and communications for 25 years. And is applying that discipline and creativity to connecting with what is perhaps the most essential stakeholder group of all, those inside the organization, charged with developing and delivering value for customers, investors, and the community. Her experience at Weber Shandwick, Iron Mountain, Monster, and with the Conference Board, Great Places to Work Institute, and beyond, make her an expert on this topic. She now works with organizations on insights and engagement strategies through her Blue Fire Partners consulting practice. I also learned about one of Janet's superpowers, that is asking the really interesting questions that make everything else so much easier. So welcome, Janet. I'm delighted to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
Great. So employee engagement. So this is a topic that we hear a lot about. It's had huge amounts of press and a lot of research associated with this over the last few years. So engaging workers in the workplace is really an important topic for any business. So we know that, attracting them and retaining them is important, but what happens when they're in the workplace is so key.
That's right. And maybe a good place to start, Mari, is with, what does an engaged worker look like? What is engagement after all? I do think it's become such a topic that people are almost going in circles, talking about it without really grounding it. So now it's time to do that. So where there's high engagement in an organization, it's a real win-win. It's a win for the employees because they are happier. They feel like they're doing meaningful work. They're making a difference. And for the organization, it's a huge advantage in terms of business performance. It's a competitive weapon like no other. So, that's, I think, why it's attracting attention now. And I think it's no longer a question of whether it matters. It's more a matter now of what to do about it.
Right.
And and so I could spend just a second on the characteristics of an engaged employee.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So how are they different? Well, how do they manifest this engagement? The difference between engaged employees and less engaged or unengaged employees is really a matter of commitment. Mm-hmm. It's, are they inclined to go above and beyond? What is the bare minimum of what's expected? The folks in the HR world call this discretionary effort. Mm-hmm. Will they do more than they're asked? Will they pitch in? Will they share their very best ideas? Will they, are they looking around all the time for new jobs? Are they loyal? And, kind of one of the real characteristics is, are they willing to recommend the company or the organization as a place to work? It's the net promoter test, right? Would you recommend this product, this service, this company to someone? Mm-hmm. And so those are kind of the characters. They're motivated to do their best.
So when someone's motivated, what is that driver? How do they get connected to, what are they connected to that motivates them?
Well, when you think about engagement drivers, the things that employees are really looking for, consciously or unconsciously, it starts with a big picture. Like, why are we here? Why does this organization exist besides making money, probably for other people? What are we solving for customers at the minimum, for the world even better? What is our purpose? Our highest expression of value. And so that's one thing people are looking for. The other thing that they're looking for is, how do we do this work? It's great to have kind of a goal and a mountain to climb, but if you can't get there, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So how effective are we? How efficient are we? Do we live by our values? Am I going in circles trying to get my work done?
Mm-hmm.
Are we at cross purposes internally? So the how is as important as the why, really, when you think about it that way. And then there's a who. Who do I work with? Do I like them? Are they good? Do I trust them? Do I, and the manager is a whole other story that we can talk about. The manager is absolutely key. And, then feeling connected to all of this, feeling connected to purpose, feeling connected to others. We're social beings.
Mm-hmm.
So that feeling of connectedness and having a voice, not just being invisible, is really important.
Wow.
And then the last thing, I guess, that I could say kind of wraps it all up is, what is my life? What's my future here? How do I learn? How do I grow? How do I progress? We are momentum-oriented creatures. So, where does this go for me?
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the things. And important point. You notice I didn't say anything about pay,
right,
or benefits. Those are not engagement drivers. Those are table stakes.
Right.
Those are table stakes that people expect right off the top, that you're going to be paid fairly,
Mm-hmm.
and that your basic needs are going to be taken care of.
Right.
And, no amount of pool tables or fancy snacks will compensate if the drivers that I mentioned earlier are not present. It might be enough to keep people who are just kind of floating along. It won't keep your best people. No.
Wow, great answer. That's really so multidimensional. That's great. So what is the business impact of an engaged workforce?
Well, the business impact is, it takes many forms. And thankfully, there's a ton of data now that helps connect this engagement with business performance. If you're a public company, you will even see metrics like earnings per share higher. If you're lucky enough to be on the Fortune magazine Best Companies to Work For list, in all likelihood, you are outperforming your peers on many factors. And there's so much research that has been done to say, does it really matter to be on those lists? And it's not that you're being recognized, it's that you're actually doing that work to generate the conditions so that people are engaged.
Right.
You will innovate faster. You will be more, your productivity will rise, because the data says engaged people are out less. They're actually sick less, for real or for maybe. They are present more. And then of course there's retention, which is one of the biggest attention getters for a lot of businesses, is attracting and retaining,
of course,
employees. It's extremely expensive to replace people.
Right.
Very expensive. I mean, billions of dollars.
Well, it just makes such sense that there's such a close connection between engagement and retention. It just seems pretty natural.
Yeah. And especially in certain markets, I mean, the unemployment is very low right now in many places. And, where that people are upping their game in a big way now because of that. I think that there are many reasons. There are many business reasons why engagement gets leaders' attention. And, recruitment and retention is certainly one of them right now.
Yeah, that's great.
If for no other reason, that gets their attention.
Right. Totally get it. So what would you say are the most essential ingredients or approaches for organizations looking to up their engagement as a business driver?
Well, I think, first of all, understanding what matters to employees, the drivers that we talked about before. If you understand what really matters, that it's not the pool table, that it's not, something fancy, or it's understanding those drivers is really important. And then understanding what your current state is. Where are you? how is your engagement? What do employees think right now, so that you know what's working, what's not. And there's usually pockets of strengths and pockets of places that need some support. So really, it just like in other parts of the business, it's like, let's find out, let's get some data.
So clearly engagement is very multidimensional. There's a lot of different elements and levers that the organization needs to address when they're talking about engagement. And clearly this is your area of expertise. If our audience wants to find out a little bit more about the work you're doing, the impact you've had in some of your client organizations, where can they find that information?
Oh, thank you. It's, well, I'm Janet Swaysland. You can find me on LinkedIn, and my company is called Blue Fire Partners. So that's bluefirepartners.com. You'll see some resources. I have a blog that I very occasionally post to. But yeah, you'll be able to find me that way. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you. I really appreciate your time today. Love this conversation. It's so in alignment with the work that we do in really trying to create workplaces that foster a culture and an environment where the well-being of the workers are, really looked after. And certainly engagement is a key part of that. So Janet, thanks so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure.